we're ready to make our leaves. And so what I've done is I've taken the big scan of yarn that I had and I made some smaller balls, and so that way I can just kind of pick what color I want to go with. All right, so we're going to work a series of stitches in a magic ring. So we just loop that over our 3 fingers, pull the yarn through, pinch it with the finger and thumb, switch to the other hand, finger and thumb, make a chain, and then we're going to move that out of the way. We're going to tighten it up a little, so you just tighten by going this direction or loosen by pulling this thread. We just want it big enough to fit a couple of fingers in there. And we're first going to do chain 3, and we already have 1 chain on our ring, so then we need 2 more. And then we're going to do 3 double crochet. You just pull it through, pull through 2, pull through the other 2. Yarn over, down through, pull it back up, pull through 2, pull through the other 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now for a half double crochet, we'll need 2 of those. We yarn over, down through, pull this through, and then we're going to pull it through all 3 loops on our hook, like so. We're going to do that again. Yarn over, down through, grab it, pull through all 3. Next we need a chain 1. And then we need 2 more half double crochets. So yarn over, pull it through, pull through all 3, yarn over, pull it through, pull through all 3. Now we do 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and there's our 3rd one. Now we'll give this a little bit of a tug, not completely locking it in, because we need to do 3 chains still. 1, 2, 3, and we need to join that with a slip stitch, and we're going to do that right there on that thread right there. So pull it through, pull through, and next we can do our chain 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we're going to do a slip stitch in the 4th chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Just going to go right in there, pull a slip stitch through there. Now we need to do chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to give it a twist. And now we are going to work in our next set of stitches in the ring that we've created. Not this ring, but this ring right here. So we'll do 3 double crochet right in there. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And then we need 2 half double crochet. Pull through all of them. Another 1. All right. And then we do a chain and then 2 more half double crochets. There's 1. There's 2. And 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. Then we finish off with our chain 3. And then we come in back in here and we're just going to close the loop. So we're just going to do it, stick it right through the center there and do a slip stitch and do our chain 9. 7, 8, 9. All right, we'll do another one. So in the 4th chain from the hook, we do a slip stitch, chain 3, turn it, and then we need to find the center of the ring that we just made. So we just kind of pull that over, and then we do 3 double crochet in there. There's 3, and then we do 2 half double crochet, 1 chain, and then we do 2 half double crochet, 3 double crochets, and there's a 3rd one, and then we do our chain 3, and then we do our join with a slip stitch and chain 9. All right, and then we're going to do as many leaves as you want, really, but for the pattern I do 5 strands of 6 leaves. So I put 6 leaves on each strand, and then at the end, when you are done making your leaves, then you're just going to add 3 more chains, and then you just cut it and tie it off. So it'll look like this when you're done. And then you're going to need to just come back into your where you started in that first leaf. You're going to want to tighten that. You're going to want to sew in, darn in your end just to secure it. So I just come around in this back here and I just go in around a few stitches at a time. And then you just snip. And then when you're done, you're just going to kind of stretch it out, block it, I guess you'd call it, just to kind of give those the leaves a little better shape. So like I'm pulling on the point and pulling the leaves up like so. Voila. So you end up with, when you're done, you end up with 6 leaves on a chain, and that is the leaves. All right, we're ready for our flowers. So we'll be using the yellow and the white. I'm going to do a magic ring. So I'm gonna put it or wrap it around, grab it like I'm doing a slip knot, but don't finish the slip knot. Hold it between my finger and my thumb. Switch finger and thumb to the other hand. Do a little chain to anchor it. And then I'm going to just tighten that up a little bit. So I'm going to grab my tail just so it's big enough to put my 2 fingers in there. And then I'm ready to do my 5 single crochet in the magic ring. 3, 4, 5. Pull our little tail, tighten it up, and we're going to go into the first stitch of the round. And we're going to change colors. So I'm just going to lay this over my finger like so. I'm going to grab it, pull it through the stitch, and then pull it through the loop on my hook. And that's a little bit short, so I'm going to give that a little tug. And now I'm going to do chain 2. 1, 2. And then in this stitch right here, I'm going to do 2 double crochets. So there's 1. And then we're just going to go right back into the same stitch. Do 2. Then we're going to do chain 2. And we're going to join that up with a slip stitch, and we're still working in that same stitch. Do a slip stitch. All right. Now we can move on to the, that's one petal. We're going to move on to the next one in the next stitch right there. So we're going to do a slip stitch first. So just pull it through. And then we're going to do 2 chains, 1, 2, and then we're going to come back into that same stitch with 2 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and we're going to do 2 chains, 1, 2, and we're going to finish it off with a slip stitch in that same space. Pull it through, pull it through. Now our next stitch is right there. It's kind of hidden there. You just kind of pull your work a little bit, and you can see that the next stitch to be worked in is this one. So we're going to do our slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same stitch. We need 2 chains and a slip stitch. Got it. All right, we got 3 petals, so we need 2 more. The next stitch is right here. That's a little loose, so I'm going to give it a little tug, tighten it up. Start with a slip stitch, 2 chain, 2 double crochet, finish it with 2 chains, and a slip stitch. Do I have to drag this around? Nope. So I can go ahead and cut it. I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter than that other tail that was hanging there. And now we can do the last stitch, the last little petal cluster in that last stitch. Tighten it up a little. Do a slip stitch, 2 chains, 2 double crochet, two chain, slip stitch. We'll go ahead and cut it about so long, I guess. Gotta leave room to weave it in and get it nice and secure. I'll pull that back out. First thing we're going to do is turn it over and tighten up our center, our yellow. And so I'm just going to hold it down with my fingers, and I'm going to tug on both strings back and forth a little bit. Just to make sure there's no slack in there. Tug on it, but not too tight. But here we're tying the knot, so you can go ahead and do that a little tighter. And definitely the second one do even a little tighter. That should do. And there is our, we're almost finished. We're going to take our, we have this little, there's where we ended, and here's where we started. And we have this little floating stitch right here. It's kind of, it just looks like it's out of place to me. So I'm going to take it with my needle, and I'm going to just kind of put it in there, you know, push it out of the way that way. And when I come in with my ending tail and bring it down through and out through the back, then we can tie it, tug gently, tug a little more firm, and then we got that little floating stitch out of the way now. And so now we got a neat little center. And so the last thing I'm going to do here is tuck the white tails in. So I'm just going to get underneath here. So you're going to go, you're going through, but not through the, you're going through the back side, but not through both sides. I'll tuck it one more time, just kind of sticking the needle in, and then put the yarn in there. You can, and this one, when we go, we're going to go back the other direction. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do 2 petals at one time. Oh my. You just want to make sure that when you're going through the stitches, that you're doing it nicely, kind of evenly, and that you don't end up with it showing on the other side. And then I'm just going to put that through there. And I think we've gone through enough petals, so I'll just take that, snip off the end. And for now, we're going to leave that. Okay, so here we are. And we're going to make about 10 of these. And then we're going to attach them to our leaves. And so the way I do that is I just take the longer end, and then I just take my leaves, and this is the bottom. So I'm going to go in the second leaf from the bottom, and I'm just going to push it through there. Bring it right up snug to the leaf. Come back once. Pull it through there. So there it is. And then I'm going to take both strands, tie those nice and tight, and put 3 knots in there. There's 1, 2, there's 3, and then I'm going to put both strands through my needle. I'm going to come into the back of the flower, I'm going to go in under one stitch. There we go. This is just to give it a little bit more, get a little more secure. And there we go. The last thing we're going to do, make sure that's good and tight, nice and tight. And then I'm going to bring these both strands up through the very center of the flower, like so. If it's nice and snug, that's great. That'll keep it from fraying. And then I'm going to cut it nice and close, but about, oh, what is that? A little more than a 1/4 inch, almost a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to take my sandpapery thumb and I'm just going to rough up those ends. And it's going to look like that. Isn't that cute? I put 2 flowers on each strand. I put one on this one, I put it on the second and the third leaf from the bottom. And on this one, I did it on the second and the fourth leaf from the bottom. It's not easy for me to be random. And then I have one more flower and I'm going to attach it to this. And so when I'm done, I've got 5 strands of leaves with 2 flowers on each leaf or on each strand. All right, let's get started with our dirt. So we're using the Yarn Bee Tender Touch Sable, and we'll need a stitch marker for this one. And we're just going to do our magic rings. Oh, I'm just going to have a little longer tail on this one. Loop around once, come back in here like I'm going to do a slip knot. Don't finish the slip knot. Hold it between my thumb and forefinger and then just switch hands. Do a little chain to anchor it. Work it around a little bit so it's just big enough for my 2 fingers to fit in. And pull that tail right on out of there. Move it around. So I've got my 2 fingers in there and I'm holding it tight right here with those 2 fingers. And then I'm going to do 6 single crochet in the magic ring. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to pull our ring tight. This one's a challenge to find our beginning chain, but we're going to do 6 increase for the next round, and that just means that we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another way to look at it is kind of turn it on the back side and you see the humps right there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so that little guy is kind of hidden. And so what I like to do is I like take my yarn needle and just kind of put it through both loops and just kind of wiggle it until I got a little extra space. And then my hook fits in there a little bit better. So we are going to pull that back through those 2 loops of our stitch. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. And we're going to do, that's our first single crochet. Then we're going to go back into this same stitch right there with another stitch, with another single crochet. Pull it through. And we're going to do 2 single crochets in the remaining 5. So there's 1, 2 in the second stitch, 1, 2 in the third stitch, 1, 2 in the fourth, oops, 2 in the fifth, and then 2 in the sixth. When we're done, because we had 6 stitches and we put 2 in each one, now we should have 12 stitches if we go all the way around. Now for the next round, for right now, I'm going to pull that over and I'm going to put a stitch marker right here in this last stitch. Hold on to that. And we're just going to use a stitch marker for a few more rounds here. And then I'm going to do for this round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then an increase, and we're going to repeat that 6 times. So in this first one, we're going to do 1. In the second one, we're going to do 2. In theory, if I can get it in there. There we go. 1, 2 in the same. Then 1 in the next. 2 in this next. 1. Oh, for crying out loud. 2. 1 in the next one. 2 in the next one. We're just working our way all the way around that way. 1. Then 2, 1, then 2, and if you got all the stitches, you should end with 1 right before the stitch marker, and then we need to get 2 in the same stitch with the stitch marker, so we're going to take that out, put 2 in there. And then we're just going to come back in here, put our stitch marker back in, not that one, but this one. So that's our last stitch, completed stitch, like so. And for this next round, we're going to do 2 single crochet, then an increase. So we go 1 in that stitch, 1 in the next stitch, and then 2. 1, 2. We're just going to keep doing that all the way around. So we got 1 in that one, 1 in the next one, 2 in this one. All right. There's 1, there's 1, and there's 2. We'll fast forward to the end. Okay, if you hit all your stitches right, you should have 2, 1, 2, 2 single ones, and then your increase is going to go where your stitch marker is. So we have 1, 2. Then we'll put our stitch marker back in one more time. We'll do our last round for the dirt. Our last round is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. 1 in that one, 1 in the next one, 1 in the next one, and then 2. 1, 2. I think you kind of got that, so keep going. Do 1 in the next one, 1 in the next one, 1 in the third one, and then 2 in the fourth. Just repeat that, and I'll meet you at the end. Don't do that last stitch. I'll meet you there. All right, here's the last set. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and instead of doing an increase, we're going to take our stitch marker out and we're just going to do 1 single crochet in that one. And that is it. We just need a tail about 18 inches long. All right, we're going to leave that tail, and when we are ready, we will have 29 stitches going around here, and we have this nifty little ridge right here that we created, and should have about 29 stitches there, so that'll fit nice and perfect right in there. It should work. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to attach our leaves to the dirt, and so to do that, we're just going to, if you want to put them in the order that you want them to go in. If you have a variety of color, you might want to alternate your colors at this point. And we're just going to, we have 5 ends, and we're going to sew each, we're just going to poke them through, and just about, just evenly spaced around that little circle there. So we're going to take it. We're going to try to get a nice clean stitch through there so that the chain and all will come through to the end of the leaf. And then once you have, we'll grab another one. And we're just going to work our way around like a little clock. Pull him through, chains and all. Now I got 2 through, so I think I'll go ahead and tie those 2 together like that. All right, last one. Just gonna put him right down through there. All right, he's through. And then this guy, so I have an odd number of leaves coming out there. This guy I'm going to tie to our tail that was in there, so I probably didn't want to cut that quite so short. And then after we get it attached, then we're going to start sewing it to our planter. But we're going to go around about halfway to 2/3, but not all the way around, because before we go all the way around, we need to put our stuffing in. So you're going to take your tail, and we're just going to look for where we started, and got a little bit of a cluster there. So I'm going to just start. I'm going to start right there in that one. I'm going to pull it nice and tight, not too tight, I guess. And then we're going to work around this way. We're going to go into that first stitch right there, and then we're going to go right through there. We're just going to do that all the way around. We already have one in that stitch, so now we're going to go in this next stitch and this next stitch. Right in there. You're just going through 2 strands. Those were our loops from our front loop only round. Try to get 2 strands. Make it nice and secure. And as you're going, just kind of give it a little tug. Make sure you have enough tail for sewing it all the way around. Keeping your stuff in there. use that one, so there we go. Next stitch, next stitch. All right, keep doing that until you're about 2/3 of the way around, a little more than half, not quite 3/4, and I'll meet you there. All right, here we are. All right, now let's pause and stuff. So I got all my little scraps in there. I got some more stuffing. We're just gonna stuff it around. Make sure we get behind our little, all around in our little leaves there. And you're going to want to stuff it gently. All right, I think maybe just a little bit more. And then we can finish our round. Stitching it up. All right, we're almost there. It's a little tricky here at the end, finding exactly where the stitches are, but just make it, yeah, you can work with it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I think we're gonna just go back in here, and then we're gonna come back with our tail and secure it in the brown here. So we're just gonna work our way into a couple of stitches, then back. Through about 3 or 4 stitches, and then back again. Now, once we do that, we can poke our thread through and start our collection for the next one. All right, and then we're just gonna work it around. We're getting there. We just have to do the little hangers, and then we're gonna have some strawberries, and we're almost done.